Hello, it's Ayesha Hilton from Practical Wisdom, and I want to welcome you to this live broadcast where I'm going to have Kat Farrah join us and talk about meal planning. I'm just going to bring her on and add her to the broadcast. Hi, Kat. Can you see me? Yes. Hello.
Yes, I can. Hi, Ayesha, how are you?
Good. You. So this is my first go at using BeLive.tv to have a special guest on, and I wanted to have a little play with Kat because she's fun and I love her work and we're good friends, and why not have some fun together. So Kat Farrah is a holistic health coach and counsellor, and we've been friends for quite a while now, and I love your work, Kat, and I thought why not share some of your wisdom and knowledge and practical tips with the people that I know and love as well. So today we're talking about meal planning, and I personally suck at meal planning. I'm the type of person that goes, okay, at 5 o'clock, what are we having? And I start cooking and we eat at 5:30. So I think that I could benefit from some of your meal planning tips, Kat.
I was absolutely the same, and my kids would always want different things to eat, and it got a bit crazy. And one of my daughters, who fancies herself as a chef, wrote us a menu for the week, and it worked really well. And I thought, oh, this is actually so helpful and just takes the stress out of the whole week of stuff, and it takes the stress out of shopping. We can shop for all those things. And then I sort of thought, well, let's try and get this to work, every week, and involving the kids and everyone in the family makes it really great as well, because everyone actually eats the food because they have input into what it is. So when I have clients, I always I get them to write down what they ate in a week and what their activities were, because that makes a difference as well. If you've got kids' activities or you've got your own activities till late at night, you're not going to come home and do a 3-hour roast. You're going to want something that's quick and easy. So if you plan for that in the week, that just takes the stress out of it as well. So there's a few ideas in that regard. So you just got to be realistic and really boil down what you do in a week and what you want to eat in a week and what everybody likes, and then you can sort of start from there.
Excellent. So what have you found works the best for you and your kids? Like, do you plan out 1 week in advance and then do your shopping around that?
Yeah, we have a basic sort of a plan of, the kids are happy to eat the same thing every Monday and every Tuesday, and we can swap it around if we need to. But if we have a basic plan, if things get in the way, we can always change it. So on any night that we have lots of activities, we try and either repurpose the leftovers from the night before or have a really quick meal that's still healthy, because when you plan for it, of course, you can make sure it's healthy and you're not grabbing deep fried stuff or anything like that, or in takeaway. So,
I know my kids love to eat out, and my daughter, who's a very fussy eater, she loves to eat out, but she actually only eats like chips, a bowl of rice. So if we go out to Thai or something, she actually just has a bowl of rice with soy sauce, but she still loves to go out. So I guess like what I've been doing is, it was Taco Tuesday, but on a Monday now, because we don't get home till after 5:30 because we have an after school activity, we have tacos, and this is my cheats meal. We have the taco shells, baked beans, we're vegetarian, or 2 of the 3 people that I'm cooking for are vegetarians, and sour cream, cheese and avocado, and it takes like 5 minutes, and that's Taco Monday now. And then on Sunday night we have, like, if Nick comes over to have dinner with the family and my dad comes up from downstairs, we'll buy just a roast chicken, because I don't cook chicken, and then I'll just do veggies and stuff like that. And it just means I don't have to think about those 2 nights, but the rest of the time I'm like, every day I'm like, oh God, I've run out of ideas and people don't like the same food, and I've got one meat eater. My son's a total carnivorous eater. So I sometimes cook one meal and then supplement it with a bit of meat, but he does like vegetarian food as well. So I guess it's like looking at your schedule and knowing those nights where you are going to be home late if you're out doing, you know, stuff with the family and running kids around and being a taxi service, that you can do something that's already, I guess, like slow cooker meals work good for meat eaters too.
Yeah, and it depends on the season as well. In winter, slow cooker out for sure. It's really great to be able to chuck something in, even prepare it the night before, chuck it in the morning, and magically you have food at the end of the day, and that's really nice. And in summer, you know, having salads or, you know, smoothie bowls or things like that that are sort of more appropriate to the warmer months. Even something like a smoothie for breakfast, if you push for time, you can freeze the fruit and veggies the night before, and then just grab them out of the freezer, chuck them in the blender, and you've got a smoothie. And that's really easy if you don't have to peel things and chop them up. So any preparation you can do. And like you said, on the weekends, you can have a big meal and you can take your time with it. And often during the week, you have to be a bit quick. So, and if you have, you know, if you take stuff to work as well, if you cook something that night, you can also have it for lunch the next day, and that takes a whole meal. You know, you cook once and eat twice.
Yeah, I like that idea. And I'm finding too, now that it's freezing here in Ballarat and getting warmer for our friends in the US and Canada, I'm not eating very much salad at all. I'm needing more soups and warming food. So I think that's good to take that into account, the seasons, and eat what feels right for you. Like if I eat a salad and I've been working at my computer all day and I feel frozen to the bone, then a warming soup or a hot cup of tea will help. Whereas if in summer, you know, I like the cooler foods and I love salad, but I don't really eat much of it in winter.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
What do you think of this idea? I've got a friend, she's so good at cooking up stuff for her lunches and dinners for the whole week. So she does a cook up on a Monday, and everything's taken care of on a Sunday, and then everything's taken care of for the week. And she lives by herself, so she's only cooking, you know, enough for one person for Monday to Friday. And I love that idea, but I've never done it ever.
Yeah, you see it on Instagram and Pinterest, whole tables full of like a week or even sometimes a month's worth of food in little containers, and it looks so amazing. I haven't done it myself. I've done it with soups and things like that to just get through a week. But I think especially if you're just cooking for one, how easy is that if you can do it? Like you can do breakfast, like overnight oats is a really good one. You can do 5 days worth of that, and you just pop some milk in the jar the night before, and in the morning you've got, you know, if you put oats and some dried fruit and nuts and things like that, that's something that magically appears out of the fridge in the morning. Or
do you heat that up? Do you then cook that? Oh, so it's just soaked oat? Yep.
Yeah, you can cook it, but
soy milk, what milk people like, doesn't matter.
If you've got little jars, you know, like the 350 sort of mil-sized jars, and you just put half oats, you know, maybe a quarter of nuts and seeds and other things that are going to give it some flavour, and then just pop whatever milk you like in the night before, and in the morning you've got a beautiful, really healthy breakfast. And you can even take that in the car and eat it if you really like push for it.
I know when I was doing like very low carb and trying to lose weight to get pregnant to conceive my son, I used to make up like coconut milk with like berries or coconut cream, berries, nuts and everything, have it in the fridge. And then if I was going to a conference or a meeting, I could just sit there with my little jar and have my nutritious jar. I've totally gone off them at the moment, but yeah, they were yum. And also what I do is make up little jars of fruit salad as well. And then I buy the Meredith goat's feta, which I love, and it comes in these tiny, perfect sized jars.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I buy, is just for the jar. And actually last night I bought some at the supermarket, and it smashed in the supermarket after I'd paid for it. But I was really nervous. So I was like, it was $13 for this tiny jar of cheese. It's like my chocolate or my caviar. And Grace is like, Mummy, you have to return it, you know, and they did actually kindly give us a free jar. Even though it was sort of my fault. But the guy did put it in with a thing of orange juice. I had this craving for orange juice, which I never buy. And, yeah, so he weighted the bag. badly, but yeah, so I had a bit of goat's feta in my shoe as well, which is a bit annoying. But those jars are awesome because they create just the right amount, and then I can chop it in the morning and have it after dinner if I'm hungry too and want a snack. So yes, yeah, some great tips. So what's your, like, if you had were coming home late, what's your quick meal that you prepare for your family?
Well, we do all eat a few different things, but I'm a big fan of freezing fresh food, like not buying frozen food, but I'll freeze bone broth and things like that, so I can chuck together a soup really quickly that's really nourishing, healthy in winter or in summer. Like I'll make pizza bases from scratch and put them in the freezer. So obviously kids love pizza, and if you tell them that that's for tea and it's just going to be quick and you can chuck it in the oven, then it's you don't end up stopping off at fast food.
I only know of one kid that doesn't like pizza, and it's a niece of mine, and she doesn't like chips as well. And I'm like, I love hot chips. Chips and goat's feta are my two weaknesses. I don't care about chocolate. Sorry for the chocolate lovers. So I'm just wondering, like, what's the process for meal planning? Is it you identify, like, say 5 meals that you know everyone can handle eating regularly, and then you just cycle through them, and maybe have like one night a week you might eat takeaway or do whatever you feel like, and then you're just sort of cycling through that, and I guess you're not wasting a lot of food too because you're only buying what you need from a list. Whereas for me, if I buy too much in advance and then I end up, and I'm really, really sorry for the environmentalists among us, and I am an environmentalist as well, but I can often throw out quite a lot of fresh food that I haven't gotten around to cooking. So I sort of like the idea of either meal planning or what I'm doing currently, which is not meal planning in advance, but it's like picking up just what I need when I pick the kids up from school or drop them off, because I just find there's so much wastage as well when we don't plan our meals, or go to the farmer's market and have all these great ideas. You know, I'm going to make celeriac puree because I saw it on MasterChef, and then it just goes disgusting and slimy, and I throw it out. So I'm sure I'm not the only one who's guilty of that.
No. Oh, it definitely happens, and that's why soup, especially because we're coming into winter in Australia, soup is just the perfect thing to tuck all the veggies in that you think, in another couple of days, I'm going to have to throw them out. Just chuck them in a soup. And even if you don't end up eating it, then that can go in the freezer and you've got like a cheat meal pretty much just to grab. But I mean, meal planning, it's a commitment in that you do have to sit down and spend some time working out what's going to work for you. Because I mean, there's a million meal plans on the internet that you can just download. But if it's not the food that your family is going to eat, then it's just a waste of time. And you might do it for a week and then you'll go, oh, too hard, new recipes, I don't know. So I get people to write down their favourite food. That's the start of it, and foods that everyone will eat. Then I get them to write down what their activities are. So which are the tough days during the week that they would need to just have a quicker meal, and which days they can do a bit more cooking. And then also, like, for example, on a Monday we'll roast a chicken and we'll have that with some veggies, and then I'll put the bones in the slow cooker and make some broth, and then the next night we can have some soup, and still some of the chicken. And so you can make one meal.
It's almost like a rolling feast, you know, bit of this goes into a bit of that. Even like roast veggies and leftover veggies that I had the other night, I'm going to make today into like a frittata or something. So I do like that rolling feast idea.
Yeah, because I think because of shows like MasterChef and things like that, we all think now at home we have to have these really elaborate meals and something different for every meal. And really, like, the most practical thing, and like you're saying, you don't want to throw food out. So you want to find ways to repurpose meals and to use leftovers and to keep a meal alive, you know, for a couple of days by just changing what it's in. Like you said, like I love doing roast veggies with the chicken, and then the next night do pizza and put those roast veggies on the pizza, or a frittata or something like that. Yeah.
With the goat's feta.
Yes, absolutely. Everything is better with goat's feta.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I was trying to show. Yeah. If anyone has any questions for Kat, I know we've only got a few people watching live, but yeah, because it's school drop off pickup time, but this suited both of us. So if you're watching the replay, you can always post your questions below, and Kat and I can address that. Did you have anything else you wanted to share about meal planning?
Not really. But if you can set yourself even half an hour on a Sunday just to get it worked out, if you can get yourself a master shopping list that you can use to even make your shopping list, that makes it super easy. You don't have to try and remember aisles in the supermarket. So anything that can make it more efficient, because a lot of the time it isn't fun. So making it efficient means less time, less stress, less overwhelm, less waste, and especially if you're wanting to follow a diet or something like that, it will help you stick to that because you've got a plan and you're being conscious about shopping, conscious about cooking, and conscious when you eat the food.
Definitely. I know that when I'm trying to follow a particular eating plan, which I'm not at the moment, if I am starving and I haven't got something that's going to be available quickly, I'll just eat whatever and then I fall off the wagon. So that's a really good point too. Like if you are trying to make your diet healthier or remove certain things from your diet because they don't make you feel good, then that's a good way to do it. And I know, Kat, I'd love to have you on again. I'm really interested in the author Anorexia, where people follow a certain plan and it's not always that healthy for them and it becomes a bit of a mind challenge. And I know for me personally, I sort of feel like I've got a bit of disordered eating because I've done paleo, but as a vegetarian, and then I did low carb, and because of my hormone and thyroid issues, like I just was gaining a kilo a week, and my endocrinologist said there's nothing I can do for you, and he put me on some speed-like drugs, which didn't help anyway. So, like that, I think if we can just strip it back to eating real food, and I think for me, and I know for you too, Kat, that I know that dairy doesn't really agree with me, nor gluten. So if I can have things that will make me feel like I'm having a beautiful meal, it will stop me from, carving out on, sourdough bread, which I love and doesn't make me feel good. So yeah, it's a good point. And I see Rachel Allen's just commented that she loves some ideas on healthy snacks. So if you've got any ideas on healthy snacks, and also Rachel says that she plans for a month online and she shops online and weekly for fresh food. So yes, that's very good because you're very busy, Rachel. And Rachel would be good to have on as a live guest too because she's got a book out, which Kat and I are both sort of involved with, about having a baby and managing a business. So that's awesome. So, Kat, would you like to share some ideas for healthy snacks for kids and adults?
Absolutely. My favourite thing ever. Whenever I look through recipe books or anything like that, I'm straight to it. That's definitely, if you are not going to meal plan your whole week for regular food, planning for snacks is a really good start because always, you come home, you're stressed from your day of work or running around with the kids, and the first thing you want to do is just flop on the couch and zone out and put things in your face to make you feel better. And if you have some healthy snacks there's lots of great healthy snacks that still taste like chocolate or taste like chips or, the regular things that people crave. So I found the Donna Hay Fresh and Light magazines have been really good. She kind of draws lots of things from the internet and puts them in one place and photographs them really beautifully. And there's lots of healthy snacks in there. One of my favorite things is to just mix, if you mix coconut oil, maple syrup and cacao together, that makes something that is very similar to dark chocolate. And that's back in the day when I used to love eating chocolate. That was how I sort of transitioned away from that. And it started off, I ate quite a lot of it, but then over time it just seemed like I ate less and less. And then now I barely eat it. And it's just changing sugar in things that you eat to something that's got a bit more bang for your buck, like coconut sugar or maple syrup or things like that. But probably anything like cakes, and depends what you crave really, like but there's lots of places on the internet to find alternatives to even a Mars bar. There's like a healthy version of that you can make. So there's lots of things.
Cake and all sorts of things like made of cashews and stuff like that. I think though it can be too complicated sometimes, and like I think that we're scared of fruit, and it's like I think fruit, like as a culture, like with all that, you know, I quit sugar and this and that, like poor fructose from fruit has got a hammering. And I tell you, when you have a nice piece of fruit that actually has flavour, because a lot of it, like good raspberries, like sometimes the kids and I go, oh, can we have a treat? And our treat is, you know, a punnet of raspberries that are more expensive than gold. But when they taste really good, it's like it's nourishing to the soul and to your craving, but it's also good for your body. Like fruit is the easiest thing you can snack on, really. And, you know, most people don't have fructose intolerance. Like a few people do, and they have to do FODMAPs and whatever. But most of us can eat a nice piece of fruit on the run. Like if I'm busy in the morning, I just grab a banana, and that's my go-to food. And it's like for years I avoided bananas because I was, you know, low carbing, and now I'm like, oh, a banana is pretty cool.
And it's portable, and if you eat in season, you can often, you know, raspberries in season are half the price of raspberries out of season, things like that. So if you have an idea of what sort of thing, you can stock up on that and get some beautiful fruit. Even things like passion fruit, and I don't know, it's like people don't eat fruit anymore.
I know. Well, Rachel's just shared that she had a dentist tell her that eating fruit is as bad as eating lollies. And I just think that's ridiculous. Like, I don't know if he convinced you, Rachel, or not, but I too felt like scared of having too much fruit and avoided it because I'd read so much stuff on, you know, fructose and blah, blah, blah. And but now what I find is if I am craving something sweet, is it better to have a Mars bar, like you mentioned before, or even a healthy paleo Mars bar? Or what about I just have an apple? You know, or a mango. Oh my God, mangoes in season will lift your craving for sweets. You know, they'll really address that craving. So I want to start a movement to love fruit again because there's so many vitamins in them and so many good stuff in them. And I mean, it's like there are people who just live on fruit. I'm not advocating that, but I'm a greens girl. I love veggies, but let's all have a piece of fruit today.
Well, that's it. And eating nutrient dense food is going to get rid of cravings, and it's going to help you feel less hungry and things like that because you're getting more bang for the buck. So having a piece of fruit over having some rubbish food is going to be great.
Well, I was reading the book Medical Medium, and in it he said it's actually very natural to have cravings. And, you know, in my work as an EFT practitioner, we're always trying to get rid of people's cravings, but actually craving, like, you know, a baby has breast milk, you know, those who are fed with breast milk, it's very, very sweet. So it's actually quite natural to have comfort eat and to crave sweets. So if we can just find a healthier way to do that and less packaged way to do that, like you're saying. So I'm just looking at, sorry, you go.
Often cravings too are for a texture, not necessarily, so it can be the crunchy or smooth or something like that. So we associate crunchy with, say, a packet of chips, but if you have nuts or something that can give you,
or even a carrot or celery,
exactly,
the biting thing. Now I'm going to share the link in a second for your A to Z mealtime game plan that people can get. Are you able to just tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. It's just a little ebook with the basics A to Z of meal planning. It gives you lots of tips. There's a whole section that are just suggested recipe books, and a lot of those recipe books have websites that you can get free recipes from. And sometimes, you know, we just get stuck in a rut of the, you know, recipes that we cook all the time for the family. So it's good to even give yourself a goal of trying one new recipe a week or something like that. There's lots of meal planning tips. Like I said, you know, work out what your favorite foods are, what activities you do in a week, and how you can repurpose food to make those days a bit easier. There's, you know, kitchen equipment that can make life easier. Like you said, the slow cooker, leftover ideas, planning calendars, healthy snacks, nutrition, all that sort of thing. So it's this little book here, and there's everything, you know, all the basics for getting your meal planning started, and for it not to be so overwhelming and boring and weird. Like, it's just, you know, start from this point and work your way through. And even if you can get one meal planned a week, it can take a bit of stress out of the week. So yeah.
Definitely. And definitely on those days where you're running around mad, like for those parents among us who are doing school pickups and then driving to various activities, the last thing you want to do when you get home and you're tired, maybe a bit grumpy like me sometimes at 5 o'clock, you just want to be able to eat something nutritious. And yeah, so thank you for that. So I've shared the link on the screen. I've just created a quick link, practicalwisdomacademy.com/meal planning. That will take you directly to Kat's A to Z mealtime game plan, so you can get that and she'll email that through to you when you sign up. So I just want to thank you, Kat, for coming on to my first ever co-hosted Facebook Live, and you've been a wonderful guest, and I'm sure we'll have Kat back. If you've got any health questions or, you know, health coaching style questions that you'd like Kat to address, we can always have her back. And if you have some questions around meal planning, feel free to comment below, even if you're watching this after it's been live and you're watching it on a replay. Feel free to comment below, and Kat and I will check in and try and answer your questions. So that's it from Practical Wisdom and Ayesha Hilton and Kat Farrah. And I want to thank you so much for watching and joining. And thank you, Rachel, for all your lovely comments. It's always good to have some live commentary going on. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.